What's up, everybody on YouTubes? Welcome back to the Ace Attorney part of the channel. And yeah, we're still playing Turnabout Reminiscence. Seeing if Franzy has anything to say about the matter. Here's the autopsy report. It is probable that Mr. Rel survived for a short time after he was shot. However, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously from his stabbing. Interesting. Yeah, you would think the opposite would be true. It looks like we now know everything we need to know about this case. Are you sure we know everything? Of course! The incident began with Mr. Faraday attempting to get his revenge. The prosecutor went into a rage from being accused and tried to kill the defendants. But the defendant fought back and they ended up killing each other. It's all very clear and simple. There's absolutely no margin for doubt. Do you really believe that to be the truth? Are you saying that just because I figured out the truth before you, that you don't want to believe it's true? Yeah. It's alright. If you disagree with my arguments, then prove me wrong. Well, if there are any contradictions to be found, that is. Don't worry, I will. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous, while Mr. Rel survived for a short time. From this, it is obvious that Mr. Faraday died after he shot Mr. Rel. And Mr. Rel, while on the brink of death, stole Mr. Faraday's knife and stabbed him. Sorry, that's my dog in the background shaking like a maniac. I guess she's trying to shake her fleas off. Those are the facts of this case. Be right back. Sorry for that. Mr. Faraday's death was instantaneous. Therefore, he must have attacked first. Proving that logic to be false is probably the fastest way to show her that she's wrong. You would think that the shot will be faster than the stab wound. In that case, I should first look for any holes in her theory. I'm just gonna press everything, like you do in the Ace Attorney game. Hold it! Sorry. Do you truly believe that Mr. Faraday died instantaneously? I have the murder reports right here. Mr. Faraday died instantaneously due to shock of being stabbed in the chest. There, you see? It's been documented, clear as day. Ugh. Mr. Faraday was shot Mr. Rel before he died. Do you have any basis for the statements? Your foolishness has no end, does it? Now, I hate to repeat myself, however. Mr. Faraday died instantaneously. That is the basis that I need. Alright, so if Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, then he must have attacked Mr. Rowe before being stabbed. He finally began to catch on, I see. So you believe that the dying Mr. Rowe stole the knife from Mr. Faraday? Mr. Rowe became desperate as he did not want to die. Honestly, who does? Human beings can do amazing things when they are put to the test. So the two men struggled. And in the end, Mr. Rowe was able to grab the knife and stab Mr. Faraday. The messy condition of this room is a statement to their struggle. Yes, my logic is perfectly sound. Can you really say that it is perfect? What are you insinuating? Nothing. However, I can't let what you said slide by without further inquiry. One must be clear and precise, so if you could apprehend that statement to your testimony. Fine. They struggled, and Mr. Rowe used the last of his strength to counter-attack Mr. Faraday. About this statement. Mr. Rowe used all of his remaining strength to take the knife and defend himself. One can easily see that they had a violent struggle. Of course, it's nothing compared to what my riding crop can do. How does one compare the damage her crop can do to the state of the room? Furthermore, all the plastic bags on the floor of this room were scattered there due to the fight. Is there anything else that I can explain for you? No, that would be fine. Claiming suspicions as facts already. Don't you feel that the evidence is a bit lacking? You'll find all the evidence you need just by looking around this room. Mr. Faraday collapsed on top of Mr. Rowe. In addition, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, making a counterattack impossible. Furthermore, the room is a total mess from their fight. I dare say that there's more evidence here than you can weep at. It looks like she's becoming more and more confident. And looking at this place, she might have a right to be. After all, everything here seems to support her theory. It looks like you were starting to see my point. I have as good as one eyelid to competition. There's something strange about Miss Francisca's theory. I should compare her claim with the data I've gathered thus far. I just know there's a contradiction somewhere. And I think I know where. Instantaneous short time. Mr. Rel. Huh. Really? You think so? But what about what Detective Gumshoe said? If the two men were fighting, their struggle would have surely caused quite a bit of noise. However, Detective Gumshoe testified that he heard absolutely nothing. Huh. You place too much faith in that detective testimony, you know? Because he knows nothing. But for the sake of argument, let's say they weren't in a fight. How then did Mr. Red get his hands on the knife? Mr. Faraday's bag was sitting right here in lobby number 2. It's not hard to imagine that perhaps Mr. Rel saw a chance and took it at some point. So, what are you saying this is? Mr. Rel took a chance when he saw the opportunity and took the knife from the bag. And then Mr. Faraday shot Mr. Rel after being stabbed? Isn't there something strange in Francisca's statement just now? Well, yeah. Wait, something doesn't add up. Oh, really? It's simply not possible for Mr. Faraday to have shot Mr. Rel after being stabbed. Because yeah, in the crime scene picture, it says Rel's on the floor and Faraday's on top of him. According to the coroner's report, Mr. Faraday died instantaneously, meaning that he died immediately upon being stabbed by the knife. Ergo, he could not possibly have fired the gun after that. Oh, you got me. But of course. Well then, if the report is correct, then there's only one correct explanation. If we suppose that Mr. Red attacked first, then Mr. Faraday, who died instantaneously, would have been unable to kill Mr. Red. Therefore, Mr. Red must have stabbed Mr. Faraday after he was shot. Then they both died. This is the only explanation that makes logical sense. Negating your opponent's ideas in order to prove your own theory. I see you've been studying, Francisca. I just wanted to explain it to you as simply as possible. Before you foolishly propose a foolish theory that only a foolish fool like you could. How naive of you to believe that only your opinions are valid, and still expect to discover the truth that the crime scene offers you. Francisca, you still got a ways to go. What are you talking about? Are you saying there's a logical flaw in my logic? Did I say logical flaw in the logic? Oh my goodness.